burden mean like it's a financial burden. Like it's another, like I gotta pay 50 extra, I gotta pay $100 on phone. I gotta give you $100 to eat with food. I gotta make sure you get packages. It's like an extra $500 could be the expenses could be every month. So now you take this out of people that's basically don't have no job, or maybe have a regular job, nothing too crazy, but you know, we dealing with basically lower class people that's poverty stricken. That's the people that's being really hurt from this mass incarceration. So now you're looking at the dynamic, you're looking at these families.
Commissary is basically a waste of money. But now you need commissary though. You need commissary in there. Well, I felt I needed commissary in there.
I wasn't the only one basically that sort of was going through like this like fear of food insecurity in prison, and I wasn't the only one that like spending in debt like occupied my mind. Well, in the beginning it was kind of hard because I was like confused on like which voice should I use in the interview. Should I come across more as a researcher and sort of like make it seem like I'm unaware of the commissary system, because I actually am a member of the demographic of that I'm interviewing for the project. So I was kind of confused, like, do I want to keep it strictly professional and I guess act like I have no knowledge of commissary, or should I just, like, how should I approach it? Should I approach it from a more social perspective or from a more academic perspective? But after a while, I sort of found my voice and I was able to like link both to like extract sort of the best interview from the subjects that we interviewed.
The idea was, and the idea is, has been to find ways to bring together kind of social science research principle and what other people and what people can bring in terms of their lived experience of you know, incarceration, the carceral state, and the commissary system and financial problems going through the criminal justice system.
Now I see things from like a different dynamic. Like I see, like before I'm just seeing it from a person sitting inside a cell. Now I'm studying the household. Like I'm studying the household. I'm watching the household being stripped. You take the male figure out the house. Sometimes this male figure is the breadwinner. So now you take this guy out the house, you bring the person that's bringing in the majority of the money into the house. You take him out the house, the asset, you put him inside the cell, now he's a big expense. So now the family was used to really like relying on him. So now they really got to take care of him. So now we go back to having that financial burden.
Well, I felt like I knew things from actually went through it. So, you know, I thought I could be maybe more relate or have more of an insight on what was going on because I've been through it. I was in jail for 14 years, so I did a lot of commissary.
One of the main things that I try to tell people about prison is that it costs to live there.
It's not a reform thing. It's not the commissary thing. It's not a bonus extra for people in there. It's really kind of like survival, like it's needed. And even though it's needed, we're being charged exuberant prices for things that we really need.
It costs like emotionally and financially, but my biggest takeaway is that the financial and the emotional costs sort of like, they're like parallel to each other.
One thing about jail that people probably never knew is that the pay never changes. Inflation happens, every price goes up. Even the limits goes up. When I went to jail, it was $55 you could spend at the store. Now it's 75, I think, or 85, something like that, whatever. And everything went up, but the pay is still the same. Guys that were in jail since the 80s still make 80 cents an hour being a porter, as I was making 80 cents in 2017.
I learned how to sort of maneuver through prison and, get what I needed to get financially, I guess you could say. And that was because, I guess, commissary is extremely important, because food insecurity is a really, 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 really big problem in prison. And that was probably like my worst memory from prison, is being hungry and like not having commissary.
Oh, I can empathize. I've seen people. So without commissary, it's rough because they don't feed you. Like when I was in a box, I did several box stints. So you're starving. I already know how it is. They don't feed you. You have to stretch the little food they give you. You get a little bit of money, so you gotta, really maintain your finances. Probably buy peanut butter and jelly, soup, little things that you need, and you just gotta make it work. Like you have, without a choice. Don't let you have a vice like cigarettes. Oh man, and no money. It's rough, but you just gotta make it work.
We know money matters in the criminal justice system, but how much they also matter for the day-to-day of those who are inside, and how, which include both just being able to sustain yourself, but also being able to maintain an identity and a sense of self throughout this kind of very traumatic experience. Unfortunately, for many people, seem to also depend on access to resources, which then also means that the family, they're already stretched and financially kind of impoverished. They have to pump more money into this system because they know their loved one depend on that in so many different ways, psychologically and materially and health-wise.
It's already a stressful environment, like there's a lot of things like that you have to already deal with, like physically, mentally, emotionally, but to have like food be one of them makes things even worse. I guess for me, or it made my time worse. And now I can see from my little bit of time as a researcher, looking at it from an academic standpoint, that food plays a major role in sort of like quality of life. It's more than a pack of cookies, if you get what I'm trying to say.
Why I do this kind of work, because I have a passion, like I understand this, like I live this, like this is my life, like, like this is like the vibe come through, like I'm bringing awareness to like my environment, to like my neighborhood, like, how mass incarceration not only cage up a high number of people, but it also have like a everlasting effect